Phase of Moon. My name is Blake Cousins, and today we're live right now, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, June 21st, 2013. We're going to go over this episode of what their belief is, what these unusual lights are in the sky, the flying saucers, the lights. Are they interdimensional beings? Are they Anunnaki ships? We don't know, but that's what we're going to try and find out right here at Third Phase Moon. And we're taking calls from around the world right now. And if you have a question for Third Phase Moon and maybe an answer of the question, what are the strange lights in the skies being captured from around the world, being submitted on video and showcased right here at Third Phase Moon, you could call in 347-934-0378. And right now we're going to be going to the lines and taking calls from around the world. Let's see. Joe Rodriguez, your opinion on what you think these UFOs are. I know some people have heard it before, but let's remind the viewers of what your opinion is of what a UFO is at present day in your mind.
Okay. My opinion is based on the Bible. I'm not a religious guy, but I am a spiritual person, meaning that I believe in God, and I believe that He left us a book inspired by Him. So by looking at that book, it tells me a lot of things. There's many, many clues that make it very clear that these things are out there to deceive the masses. Why do I say that? Because if you go to Joe Rodriguez UFO and see some of my videos, you'll see the people looking up at these things as if they're gods or angels or what have you. And in my opinion, a lot of people are asking them to help us. As a matter of fact, in one of my videos, you'll hear a woman yelling at those things and saying, help us, show us the way in all this, as if they were Jesus Christ Himself. So these things are appearing all over the world. I happen to know by reading the Bible that God doesn't play games like that. He doesn't put little lights here and there and confuse people or whatever.
Well, we're just getting another
that's
call.
Not how we work.
Area code 786, stand by, Joe Rodriguez.
Okay.
Welcome to
Sure.
the Moon 786. Do you have an opinion of what you think these are, and who we're speaking with?
This is Mel down in Costa Rica. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Mel, doing good. Costa Rica, a lot of mass sightings going on over there. We're talking about in this, radio show about what people think these UFOs are. Interdimensional beings, possibly military flying saucers built by the military themselves, or possibly aliens from the future coming back in time machines. And Joe Rodriguez is saying that there might be, he puts a religious overtone on it, aliens, demons, we don't know. Mel, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I am a cold stone atheist, okay? So I don't believe in the man in the sky theory. I've been an atheist since I am 20 years old. I'm almost 50 now. So it's been almost 30 years. I was born and raised Catholic. And let me make a few comments about raising your kids and shoving a religion down their throat. It should be a form of child abuse as far as I'm concerned, okay? People are smart enough to make up their own minds based on the information that's available to them. But to think or to say that, some God exists in the sky and demons are transforming themselves into UFOs is completely out of context. And I'm not trying to downplay this gentleman that's on the phone with you, folks, but the reality is we are a creation of extraterrestrials, not a God, okay? I don't believe in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. I think it's just a control mechanism to keep everybody in line. I believe very wholeheartedly, because I believe there's a lot of scientific proof at this point, that they're coming back to check up on their experiments gone bad. If it was a God, a real God with two powers, this planet would not be in the shape that it's in. That's for damn sure. So I completely, totally do not concur with this gentleman and his ideas of a God.
Joe Rodriguez, Mel's basically saying that, the ET existence and what's happening right now has nothing to do with demons or whatsoever with God. It's basically just extraterrestrial life visiting Earth. What do you have to say about that?
Right. Hello, Mel. I respect your position, Mel. Now, you did say something that I agree with you 100%. You said that it's a mechanism to keep people in line. I agree with you 100%. Imagine if there was no mechanism to keep people in line, we would have what? What would we have if people were not in line?
Yeah, no, I understand that. But to say that there's a man in the sky that has created the entire universe, a billion, probably 10 billion, or maybe even a trillion planets with life form on it, because there's no beginning and there's no end to space. There, you could travel for 100 trillion light years and then go for another 500 trillion light years. You're never going to hit a brick wall. The amount of life in universe is probably equivalent to the life that we have in the ocean, which you probably haven't even discovered 5% of it, or not even 1% of it. So to say that, that there's a God that's going to control everything and that's making all these things appear, I completely do not agree with that. I believe that once we get our act in gear and we get rid of the money, we get rid of all of our differences and put a system in place that not divides us but yet brings us together, I think we're going to see a mass landing, maybe not in our lifetime, maybe in our kids' or maybe our kids' lifetime. I believe it's going to happen. I think it's going to take maybe another 50 to 100 years for this planet to evolve. Here's the thing. To say I used to be an atheist and now I'm a Catholic is like saying I used to be a flaming homosexual and now I'm a Christian. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. I will tell you this, though. Not only will you see a mass landing, you're going to see free energy technology come out of this. You're going to see a lot of things. See, the reality is the powers to be are so afraid of letting us know that, yes, we do have a relationship with extraterrestrial beings from other planets. Because, see, that is a Pandora's box. And when you open up Pandora's box, you can't put Pandora back in the box. And the questions are going to be, well, if you have a relationship with them, how long, how are they getting here? Well, they're not pulling up at the local Hess station or Exxon station and filling up with unleaded, I can assure you that. And they're getting here in 45 minutes from Andromeda, and that's like 500, million light years, whatever, from Earth. And they're getting here with their best craft in 45 minutes. So they would have a lot of explaining to do. So they don't want their status quo, their pyramid, sort of their petrodollar, as Mr. Dr. Greer likes to call it, to crumble. So that's the main focus of, not letting the cat out of the bag. But to say that, a God with a planet, one planet, that has so many problems on it, cannot even begin to start to manage a billion other species on other planets. I mean, if there was an executive, if God was an executive in a corporation, Fortune 500, he would be out on his almighty ass a long, long time ago.
Joe Rodriguez, go ahead.
Okay. Now, you have a lot to say, and again, I respect what you're saying. I completely don't agree with what you're saying. I do know that the Bible says that the person that denies, in 1 John 2:22, it says, "Who is a liar but the man who denies Jesus?" That is the Antichrist, he who denies the Father and the Son. That's what the Bible says. At the beginning of this whole conversation, I said that my foundation was the Scriptures. Even though I'm not a religious man, my foundation, where I get my information from, is the Bible. Where do you get your information from now?
Where do I get my information from? Videos on YouTube, and I'm very subjective. I don't believe everything I see either. I get information from stuff that makes sense, that when you look at it from a physical, mathematical, scientific standpoint, you look at it and you say, well, I'm intelligent enough. That makes sense to me, and I'll either digest it and take it in, or I'll say that's bullcrap, and I'll reject it like anything else. I don't do a lot of the reading because of my eyesight, obviously, is going 20 years plus in front of a monitor. So I get a lot of information from people that I believe are a lot smarter than me. Let me ask you a stupid question. If tomorrow the powers to be, the Obamas, the Vatican, whatever, they decided to get their act straight, which is not going to happen. This is wishful thinking, obviously. But let's just say they say, we like the zeitgeist movement theory and ideology, and we like the Venus Project ideology. We want to put that into place starting tomorrow. And we're going to get rid of all of the money. Nobody has to go to work. Nobody has a mortgage. The borders are free. Obviously, crime will be non-existent because if you can have the same 20 pairs of sneakers that I got, there's no reason for you to come steal mine. So you can pretty much leave your doors open. If they put that ideology into place, okay, my question to you is if there is no more money, nobody needs to go to work, which is probably the system that exists on other planets, how many churches would be open for business? How many?
Let me answer that, Mel.
Yeah.
A lot of churches are money-hungry bastards. That's why I haven't gone to church since 1978. Church is not what's going to save a person. So a lot of churches would go out of business and what have you because it's all about money, money, money. Jesus himself said it. He got a whip and started whipping people that were selling stuff in front of church and making money. So I'm with you on that. Okay? But the Bible is still the Bible.
And look, the Bible, the devil, the Antichrist, the man in the sky, Allah, Muhammad, they're all mythological beings that don't exist. These are all adult boogeymen to keep adult human beings in line. I will argue that till the day I die. That's an absolute fact. There's no spread. Listen, have you seen Zeitgeist, the first part? If you haven't, I need you to go watch that immediately, tonight before you go to sleep. Because the first 20 minutes of that, there's been mythological gods with the same exact identical story, born of the virgin chipmunk and born of the virgin this and the virgin that, and they're identical stories before the God you're talking about. So,
Mel, you do have a point there. Let me interrupt you on that. I'm sorry about that. Before we lose our thought. Very good point. Very good point, Mel.
No, one sec. We are live right now, and we are going to be sharing this on Third Phase of Moon. We're going to save this debate. Let's save it, guys. We're going to take some other calls. We're going to take the calls.
Okay. I have something to say about that, but that's okay.
Hold your thought, and then we're going to take some calls, and we're going to get back to the discussion. So let's go to Eric. Just save it. We'll get back to you at on the bottom of the hour. Area code 650. Welcome to Third Phase of Moon.
Hey, how's it going, Blake? And welcome to your guest there. This is Bob Evans from Pacifica, California.
All right. Bob Evans shared incredible photos that he put in an archive after looking through NASA SOHO imagery of the sun. And some of the images that we shared right here on Third Phase of Moon are absolutely fascinating, mind-boggling on some of the images of these massive, what looks to be massive ships, galactic imperial, straight out of a Star Wars movie, imperial ships, Star Wars, laser beams, all kinds of crazy stuff. Welcome to the show, Bob. Did you have an opinion of what you think these UFOs next to the sun?
Well, the UFOs, in my opinion, are nothing more than, say, runabouts from these much larger starships that actually come out of warp. Maybe some of the smaller UFOs, maybe they have intergalactic capabilities. It's hard to say. But this is one of the deepest and hardest parts when you try to look at the scientific facts and you put it against a person's religion or belief. And that's where you have to walk very carefully to try and find a nice gray spot in the middle to work with both people. And I understand where he's coming from the scriptures and other things. And at the same time, I'm looking at the facts, looking at these images that are coming directly from Soho off the Internet. And these things are real.
May I say something about that?
Yes.
Go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Yes. I on Joe Rodriguez UFO on YouTube, you'll see me videotaping these things. I agree with you, and I want to let the whole audience know these things are definitely out there. I've seen them, and I have videotaped them. But God has told us in this Bible that Satan is a great deceiver. He wants to deceive the masses. He tells us that many, many, many times in the Bible, not to fall for it.
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you there that Satan would be that way, but are we to take our beliefs and put them onto these other beings that are coming to and have been coming to our planet? It's a little bit on the hard side to do that, because I've heard that there's about 57, I think, different races that we've been dealing with since at least 1954. All of these other races, some might fit into the Satan type idea, but all of them probably don't.
Well, we are taking more calls. People are still calling in. This is definitely a sensitive matter. Fine line. Area code 818. This is Third Phase of Moon Live.
Hey, Blake, how you doing? It's Dr. J.
Dr. J. Andy Elias, special correspondent to Third Phase of Moon. Welcome to the show. What do you think so far, and your personal opinion on what some of these UFOs are, and do you think they're demonic in nature?
It's a very sensitive issue. Mixing religion and these is hard to keep them apart, but at the same time they're kind of intertwined, because if you look all throughout history, as we heard from Dr. Jesse Marcel, was the last remaining witness from Roswell, these things have been reported since eternity. There are cave paintings that go back almost 40,000 years showing discs in the sky. There are pictures or paintings of Jesus on the cross with these things, discs in the back with people looking up at them. And with what Bob said not too long ago, 57 species, that was what Clifford Stone was told when he left the Army in 1988. Kerry Cassidy, who's been interviewing whistleblowers, has actually come up to the number of a little over 200 species, both interdimensional, visiting us, and it's really a large amount that's coming from all over the place, all over the galaxy, all over the cosmos, multiple galaxies. Also with Kiernan's footage, that is definitely a hot spot. Those are some amazing photographs and video that are coming out. Those orbs, they're doing something. I mean, they're not just, sitting there observing. They're doing something. What it is, I hope to find out soon, but that's my take on it, Blake.
That's what I like about Dr. J. Andy Elias, and, kind of the opinion that I have myself. Keep an open mind, and we'll find out what it is one of these days, and I really think Third Phase of Moon will have the smoking gun evidence that will shock the world and be able to get it out, share it quick before it gets suppressed. And another call right here at Third Phase of Moon coming in again. Another area code 818, first three numbers 578. Welcome to Third Phase of Moon Live.
Hi, Blake. It's Preston Dennett.
Preston, hey, how you doing? Preston Dennett.
I'm good. How are you, Joe?
Joe's here, and we got Mel here, and it's pretty lined up, packed house going on right Phase of Moon. Go ahead, Preston.
Well, I have to say I do agree with Joe Rodriguez on a number of points. I think that there are demons out there, demonic forces, and I think that the Bible does have a lot of very useful information, and it does have a lot, is a very worthy book, obviously. I am not a religious person either, but I would describe myself as deeply spiritual. And
excellent.
I'm going to call myself an agnostic, because obviously, I think that there probably is a creator, but I doubt it's what most people think it is. But the point I want to make is that, I got involved in this field about 25 years ago as a huge skeptic of UFOs, life after death, anything spiritual or paranormal at all. And so I came in kind of with a science background, deciding to investigate this. And UFOs, I think the evidence that fits best, the theory that fits the evidence best is the extraterrestrial theory. I know there are a number of people out there who feel that the demonic theory does explain some of these accounts, and so I looked into demons. And there are a number of researchers who specialize in this subject, and I've studied all their work. I've interviewed a number of people who've experienced what I would call demonic attacks, and even to the point of possession. And I have to say that, the evidence just does not fit when it comes to UFOs. Demons manifest in a number of different ways. Usually in a haunting, they'll attack a person. They'll cause arguments. They appear as very large, dark apparitions. And sometimes they'll even appear as loved ones. So there is a deception involved as well.
Absolutely.
So, I do agree that demons are something we have to watch out for. But I just don't think that it fits the evidence that we're getting with UFOs in terms of, the landing trace evidence, which is like 3,000 cases, the implant removal cases, and particularly like UFO crash cases in which, this hardware has been recovered and is being reverse engineered. So
yes.
That's basically my take on it.
Okay, can I say something about that?
Joe Rodriguez, let's get Mel in on the. He's right there calling from Costa Rica, and then you're next, Joe Rodriguez.
All right. Okay.
Mel,
we have a lot of demonic forces in the White House, and they wear Armani suits on our tax dollar as well. I wish we could figure out a way to get rid of them. But here's the thing, in closing, and then you guys can have the rest of the show. There's been, and I know this for a fact because I've seen Farrakhan, which he's a Muslim, incorporate the UFO story into the religion. I know for sure that the Catholics have, because I've seen pieces of CNN where they have now this extraterrestrial expert priest, and they have one of the biggest observatories. I understand that it's the most expensive one on the planet that we know of, located in Arizona. And I know the Christians also have incorporated the extraterrestrial alien story into their religion. I'm going to tell you why they've had to change and reinvent themselves and incorporate the extraterrestrial story into their religion. It's called Don't Let the Money Disappear. They want those baskets flowing down those aisles every Sunday morning like clockwork. And so we are really controlled by not just demonic forces, but we're controlled by the money. If we don't get rid of the money, mark my words, is going to get rid of us. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Mel from Costa Rica, we appreciate your insight and your opinion right here at Third Phase of Moon. Keep in touch. I know you helped us out with the connection with Dr. Searle and the free energy device. Be fantastic. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon from Third Phase of Moon, Mel. All right, so now let's go to, we got, the lines, anybody that wants to call in or Skype, we're still live right now. Let's get back to what Preston Dennett, did you get to see some of the Bob Evans Soho imagery of these, what appears to be massive starships within
they are.
Yeah, I have no doubt that there's a lot of stuff out there, and I'm really excited about some of these images that are coming out because, it's time that people see all the evidence that's really out there. We have enough evidence, I think, in the public arena to prove that UFOs are real. Thanks to work, like Joe Rodriguez.
Okay.
Yep, Joe Rodriguez is definitely putting out a lot of work. I don't understand why he doesn't believe that ETs are...
Can I tell you why? Okay. May I say why?
Sure.
Okay. We're talking about seeing these things. Preston, you're saying you saw them. I saw them as well, and the other Joe saw them, and many people have seen them. Just because we see them does not mean that they are a reality. I'm an investigator. I've been an investigator for many, many years. In 2 Corinthians 5:7, it says that we walk or we live not by not by sight, meaning not by what we see, but by faith. And what that means is that you can be fooled. I'm also a magician, an entertainer, magician part-time. I do that for fun as a hobby. But I've fooled millions of people or hundreds of people. All right, a couple of people. But, boy, I really have fooled them very well. So people can be deceived easily. So just because you've seen these things does not mean that they are really real. And the reason I say this, here's the reason, the main reason I say this is because 2 Corinthians 11:14 says that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So he's using this blackboard up in the sky to make these illusions that we look at, and people are looking at them as if they are the saviors, but they're not.
Right. I think there is some evidence to support your theories in that the UFOs have manifested differently throughout the years. We didn't have a lot of modern types of UFO reports back in the 1800s. It was more like airships. And so UFOs do, in a sense, seem to track cultures. And people have even matched accounts of fairies and things like this to UFOs. But I think that the problem we have is the cultures back then were not as educated as we are now. And I think it might be a mistake to look back to people, who were born thousands of years ago for answers when we are actually much more educated. And, I think humans have a tendency to demonify what they don't understand or deify it. They'll worship it or they'll run in fear. And I think the proper response would be to study these things and look at them as objectively as possible. And, like the Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them, right? Now,
right, but
UFOs are not, people are not getting horrible responses from them. There are a number of cases, in fact, over about 200 cases on record where people have been healed. So there are absolutely people who are having very positive encounters with this. And I think it would be a mistake to just blanket and call them all demons, because maybe some are. And I think probably you're right about that. I think there's some out there who are of demonic nature. Let's put it that way.
Okay, Preston, do you remember?
Probably not all.
Okay, Preston, do you remember reading anywhere in the Bible in Ephesians 6:10, where it talks about the suit of armor, putting on the suit of armor? Do you remember reading that? The spiritual suit of armor, Ephesians 6:10?
No.
Okay, the suit of armor, it's telling you, this is 2,000 years ago, it's telling you to put on a suit of armor for protection, a spiritual suit of armor, not a real one, for protection against what? It says against what? Against the evil Satan missiles or the deception that Satan will be bringing. So you got to put on a spiritual suit of armor. So it's telling us, it's warning us that this crap is going to come down. And it's right in front of us.
I think what that's referring to more is, people who are in danger of falling to greed and lust and gluttony and sloth and those sort of things. That's very much about, if you take a look at the Bible in whole, it's a book about love and be kind to your fellow man. That's its basic message. I think it's a mistake to sort of take things bit by bit and use them to sort of support a theory, because you can take out pieces of it and support any theory.
I want to go
and that is exactly why the religious or faith has a hard time working with scientific facts. And no disrespect to either side, but that's where it usually winds up.
Yes, Bob. What do you think, real quickly? We want to get to our latest episode, what we're working on tomorrow for our Third Phase of Moon viewers. But what do you think these ships? What do you think these ships are, Bob?
They're flying saucers. They're just intergalactic starships that come here. They're coming here for a reason. They've been working with our government since '54. They've been working with the Vatican since 1955. The gentleman from down south, he was almost correct. When Eisenhower had his meeting in '54, he had a bishop there to be his spiritual advisor. The bishop was Mr. Francis McIntyre. After the meetings, he ran straight back to the Pope. Pope Pius XII told him everything he saw and heard. And this has all been as a joint venture ever since. Yes, the Vatican did build that big observatory over in Arizona. Yes, the Vatican's paying for all the other observatories that have been tracking the big thing that's coming through. They know what's coming down. That's why they built all the domes underground. The aliens are working with us. Some are not working with us, if you believe some of the reports. Most of them are. That's the best way I can play it across.
Robert Evans, we thank you for joining us right here at Third Phase of Moon and sharing your investigative, insight, going over the thousands of photos that they've been taking and finding anomalies. It's absolutely incredible. Bob, thanks again for joining us right here at Third Phase.
Thanks for inviting me. Okay, bye.
Dr. J. Andy Elias, tomorrow, Third Phase of Moon, we're on it again, filming a brand new documentary in regards to alien abduction. You and your connections, quite amazing. You found people right there in Los Angeles that have been abducted by the Nordic and the gray aliens, and we're going to be able to speak with them live and with young Jack Graham, 15-year-old Jack Graham again, who did the Alien Project, will be there asking the big questions. Tell us what's going on tomorrow. Preston Dennett's going to be part of the show, and he's with his knowledge as well. Dr. Jandy Elias, how's it going to go tomorrow, and what do you think we're going to learn from these this investigation?
Oh, Blake, it's going to be a great time, and I can't wait for it to be out there for everyone to see. We're going to learn what these beings are doing, how they're taking the people. We're asking the abductees to describe the insides of the craft. We might even learn about the alien agenda. And like you said, Preston Dennett's going to be there. Preston, for all who don't know, is a MUFON researcher, and a very serious one at that. He's written 17 books. Several of them are top-selling books. My top favorite, maybe because I'm biased because I'm in California, but it's an amazing book, is UFOs Over California. The topic we were saying a few minutes ago about the Eisenhower meeting, he wrote a whole chapter on it, and in there, not only was the bishop there was Albert Einstein, Howard Hughes. It's just an amazing thing, but his knowledge to be there to answer some of these questions, the fact that Preston's done some regressions, it's going to give some knowledge to the people that needs to get there, and it's going to be done the only way Third Phase of Moon does, the proper way.
You know, the production's going to be there. We have the camera crew setting up the equipment, and I think we're going to be able to put this out here, hopefully in the next couple weeks. Preston Dennett, what do you think we're going to learn tomorrow when Jack Graham asks you, some of probably the big questions? You give us a quick little insight. You got a minute. Go ahead, Preston.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Well, I think what we're going to learn is, the current state of UFOs now. I think the whole UFO field is evolving very quickly, and experiencers often say that we've got big things going on, coming up in our horizons. So I'm very interested to hear about that. And like Dr. Elias says, we're going to learn a lot of things about the alien agenda, I think, and why these guys are here, who they are, where they come from. And I think we're moving up towards full disclosure and open contact. So we'll see. I'm very excited about it.
What do you think about the young generation getting involved back into this UFO phenomenon? This kid, he's 15 years old, very bright young man, asking, some really intelligent questions, trying to find out the answers. Do you think the new generation, these young guys, are going to take this matter seriously? Not make UFOs kind of cool and not so stuffy as it used to be in the past?
Right. Well, if you survey, the younger generation, they almost completely believe in UFOs, up to 80-90%. So I'm very excited about that. They take it as part of reality. And yes, I think they're our future. They're the ones who are going to be handling this whole disclosure, this whole thing that's going to go down. And as a perfect example is John Greenwald. He was like 15 years old when he started writing to the government and getting secret documents through the Freedom of Information Act. So yeah, you don't have to be 20 or 50 years old and have a college degree or anything to do this. Start now and get out in the fields, and this field is ripe for investigations. So I'm really excited about the whole new generation taking the torch here and running with the reins and really changing the whole situation.
Well said, Preston. I just want to get out special thanks to all our subscribers from around the world. We're going to be approaching 90,000 subscribers, and Third Phase of Moon is a top-rated UFO channel on YouTube, and we take that very sincere to heart. And with a team like we have, Dr. Jandy Elias, my brother Brett Cousins, Preston Dennett, Dr. Lear, we got Joe Rodriguez, a UFO hunter out of Los Angeles. We have Bob Evans taking his investigative knowledge, finding these Soho imagery, correspondents from around the world. Joe Kiernan sending amazing footage. Keep them coming. Keep the videos coming. We're going to share it to the world. Thanks again, everybody. And if you captured anything amazing in regards to UFOs, you can contact Third Phase of Moon via Skype or Facebook. My name's Blake Cousins, and we'll see you again next time.
That they're coming back to check up on their experiment gone bad. If it was a god, a real god with true powers, this planet would not be in the shape that it's in. That's for damn sure. So I completely, totally do not concur with this gentleman and his ideas of a God.
Joe Rodriguez, Mel's basically saying that, the ET existence and what's happening right now has nothing to do with demons or whatsoever with God. It's basically just extraterrestrial life visiting Earth. What do you have to say about that?
Right. Hello, Mel. I respect your position, Mel. Mel, you did say something that I agree with you 100%. You said that it's a mechanism to keep people in line. I agree with you 100%. Imagine if there was no mechanism to keep people in line, we would have what? What would we have if people were not in line?
Yeah, no, I understand that. But to say that there's a man in the sky that
Welcome back to Third Phase of Moon. My name is Blake Cousins, and today we're live right now, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, June 21st, 2013. We're going to go over this episode of what their belief is, what these unusual lights are in the sky, the flying saucers, the lights. Are they interdimensional beings? Are they Anunnaki ships? We don't know, but that's what we're going to try and find out right here at Third Phase Moon. And we're taking calls from around the world right now. And if you have a question for Third Phase Moon and maybe an answer of the question, what are the strange lights in the skies being captured from around the world, being submitted on video and showcased right here at Third Phase Moon, you could call in 347-934-0378. And right now we're going to be going to the lines and taking calls from around the world. Let's see. Joe Rodriguez, your opinion on what you think these UFOs are. I know some people have heard it before, but let's remind the viewers of what your opinion is of what a UFO is at present day in your mind.
Okay. My opinion is based on the Bible. I'm not a religious guy, but I am a spiritual person, meaning that I believe in God, and I believe that He left us a book inspired by Him. So by looking at that book, it tells me a lot of things. There's many, many clues that make it very clear that these things are out there to deceive the masses. Why do I say that? Because if you go to Joe Rodriguez UFO and see some of my videos, you'll see the people looking up at these things as if they're gods or angels or what have you. And in my opinion, a lot of people are asking them to help us. As a matter of fact, in one of my videos, you'll hear a woman yelling at those things and saying, help us, show us the way in all this, as if they were Jesus Christ Himself. So these things are appearing all over the world. I happen to know by reading the Bible that God doesn't play games like that. He doesn't put little lights here and there and to confuse people or whatever.
Well,
so
we're just getting another
that's
call.
Not how we do.
Area code 786, stand by, Joe Rodriguez.
Okay.
Welcome to
Sure.
the Moon 786. Do you have an opinion of what you think these are, and who we're speaking with?
This is Mel down in Costa Rica. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Mel, doing good. Costa Rica, a lot of mass sightings going on over there. We're talking about in this, radio show about what people think these UFOs are. Interdimensional beings, possibly military flying saucers built by the military themselves, or possibly aliens from the future coming back in time machines. And Joe Rodriguez is saying that there might be, he puts a religious overtone on it, aliens, demons, we don't know. Mel, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I am a cold stone atheist, okay? So I don't believe in the man in the sky theory. I've been an atheist since I'm 20 years old. I'm almost 50 now. So it's been almost 30 years. I was born and raised Catholic. And let me make a few comments about raising your kids and shoving a religion down their throat. It should be a form of child abuse as far as I'm concerned, okay? People are smart enough to make up their own minds based on the information that's available to them. But to think or to say that, some God exists in the sky and demons are transforming themselves into UFOs is completely out of context. And I'm not trying to downplay this gentleman that's on the phone with you folks, But the reality is we are a creation of extraterrestrials, not a God, okay? I don't believe in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. I think it's just a control mechanism to keep everybody in line. I believe very wholeheartedly, because I believe there's a lot of scientific proof at this point,